So October the 6th, I'm going to go through a particular subject, unfold a story about it by means of this lattice structure which we've been developing. Lattice, remember, starts from one point and becomes 2 and then 3 and so on. So it's a gradual enrichment or deepening of our perception and understanding and capacity to act in a particular kind of reality. Now, for this example, I'm going to take the theme of dialogue. This has great importance for me personally. I've devoted a lot of time to it. So it's not simply chatting between people, but it's chatting between people in a group to share and develop something new, which will actually have an effect on how they are together. So it has sort of deeper implications than the usual sort of get-togethers, meetings and conversations. Now, this presentation is going to be quite brief, so points I shall hurry through in a very peremptory way. Now, if you imagine people getting together, talking, is for a finite time and finite circumstances, and we can make a division of a very simple kind between what is said and what is unsaid. This is extremely powerful because there are a whole range of discriminations to do with these two. It's simply because in finite time only so much can be said. There's also that only certain things can be put into words in the first place, you see. And it's also to do with people only willing to speak about certain things, they don't speak about other things. So this division has a lot of implications in it, and you must always know that in relationship to what is said, the unsaid is vastly greater. So this is the facing of limitation. Now dialogue, the word dialogue here, David Bohm, who was an exponent of it, explained it as two roots, dia and logos, which means through meaning, not simply a chat between two people, but a going through meaning of people. So on this next level, we get this issue of meaning. Remember, going through this in a very, very fast way. And I'm going to write it in this way. I'll put it here. Words, and I'll put up here people. Because obviously what is said relates to words. What is spoken, actually spoken, put into the particular language of the people. And the unsaid with the people here, you see, is that the notion that in people there is an inner content, a psyche, a spirit, and that is, in a sense, the content of what is unsaid. I hope you can get some sense, some feeling for how this is spreading out in similar ways along the two axes. But in each step, we have to make a step of understanding. So we went between the words and the people and say what is there is a meaning. Now this is something new because meaning is something that which is more than in the words. Meaning is what expresses the people. So in dialogue, meaning assumes a very, very important central role, because that is what is followed. And it's a guideline in itself. And it's important to see these two sides. The meaning goes beyond the words which are spoken, and the meaning is an expression of the people, and it's also how the people will discover themselves. So a lot could be said about these relationships. And each of these, we call it two relationships or two degrees of togetherness here, are a reflection of the primordial one above it. Now we come down to 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And what's happening here in the next step, I'm going to say, what's come to my mind, is to do with this actual group of people gathering together, which gives it the substance. In fact, it is this group of people. Now we start from their meeting and talking together, which really is based on one definite parameter, that's the number of them, the number of people. And I'll say something about this in a moment. A little later on. Now this one here has to do not simply with the people in this time and space, but to the differences between them. Differences, if I spelled it right. And these differences relate to the diversity of the people, that is, their different backgrounds, their different opinions, their different politics, their different ages, and all the rest of it. Without these differences, the dialogue does not work. Now, this term here has to do with something I give this strange name to, the sameness of people. That is to the degree to which they can actually listen to and empathize and identify with each other. Now this one here at the end is going to write as the group mind, because it has to do with the moments or the potential or the ideal, if you like, of the whole group of a number of people having a commonality, a common presence. So some people do talk explicitly about developing a group mind as something independent in itself. So I'll go back to this number of people just for a moment. I think in the process of dialogue, people who worked in this realm for a time say that dialogue in this intimate, productive, creative sharing of meaning is optimal for about 20 people. If you get a smaller group of people, they become more identified with their personalities, their emotions, their status, and all the rest of it. If you get more than that, then they become like a horde, they become political, they split into factions. There's something really optimal about the number of people. And it's also the conditions in which they meet. The circumstances. We have rituals for dialogue, they sit in a circle so that there is an equality between them, and so on. It's for a certain period of time, which is governed by the capacity of attention that people can sustain. Now, without the differences between the necessary diversity of people, if they were all the same age, the same type, the same inclinations, you don't get enough vigor in it, so to speak. So you've got to get the differences, so there's the second stage. Remember, this is a reflection of this stage. And this is to do with the diversity of background and temperament of the people. These give the energy, primal energy. The sameness is to do more with listening, the capacity to enter into it, into what other people are saying. So you get the number, pure quantity, the differences here. And here we get the quality of the people. What quality of attention can they bring to it? Now the group mind is more speculative, of course. It's been given a particular word by a man called Fuchs, worked in the realm of group analysis and so on. He called it a matrix. He said that a group of people intrinsically, in themselves, hold quite exquisite and subtle patterns of meaning between them. Now this is very interesting because it will point us to something fundamental about the lattice and these worlds, or these levels, and say that inner togetherness of the group is actually going to have been influential in getting them together in the first place, because there would have been a history. And say, why do these people agree to meet together and be able to meet together in the same space at the same time? It's because something has already drawn them together. So you get strange intimacy between the beginning and the end. And I talk about beginning and the end because in the horizontal realm, we give an exposition which tends to be sequential, going along from the left to the right. It's not the only way, but that's the dominant way. Now, what more can develop from this? Well, 5 points.